Well, all right. Welcome back to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general message for Taurus. Know that energy is fluid, so roles could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates for you. Never force anything. Now, if you want to know anything of any relevance to the channel, such as important links, whatever giveaway I'm giving for the day, you can find all of it in the description box below. Now, if you're interested in entering into winning a free psychic reading with me, all you need to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write whatever the word of the day is in your comment bar. You know, if I chose you, if I wrote the word winner underneath. If I did, we will correspond back and forth on YouTube to figure out the best time and day that works for the both of us, that I can do your reading. All readings are done live stream. I believe in spiritual law, not just what's best for me and what's best for the winner, but actually the whole YouTube community, because we know that energy works like a magnet. It goes to who needs to hear the message. So a lot of people can resonate with your message, especially on this channel, because I always open up every reading with my deck, the Psychic Soul Healer deck, and I like to look at the spiritual energies first, the underlying energies that are influencing what your person is doing, what you're doing, why certain karmic themes are unfolding, and how we can shapeshift the situation, how we can balance out the karma. That's why we like to look at the spiritual energies first. Then I like to look at the storyline, see some hidden truths, what your person may be thinking about you, what, is happening in your life, why it's happening, and that kind of stuff. Now, without further ado, let's jump right on in and let's see what the magic word of the day is going to be. First and foremost, because the word of the day is the word that you're going to put in your comment bar if you want to win a free psychic reading with me, if you want to enter into winning a free psychic reading with me. Again, you'd have to like, subscribe, and write the word. So what is the word going to be? It's going to be intuition. Intuition. So we'll see how that word actually plays in to the spiritual energy in your situation, if it does at all. All right, let's see. Again, opinionated. I'm feeling as if you are connected to someone that is very logical, very analytical. They are very intuitive, but they tend not to rely on their intuition. They are not emotionally intelligent. They don't like to tap into their emotions to be able to make decisions. So, and I'm feeling that Taurus, you are very intuitive. And so, again, the person that you're connected to has opinions about it, and possibly about your spirituality, your religion. Vanity is the next word out. They don't know what to make of it. I feel as if part of them thinks that you're too good looking to be spiritual, to be foo-foo. They're trying to put you in a category that they just can't. It doesn't, no matter where they put you, it doesn't seem to be right. They're very logical. They're very analytical. They like to strategize. They don't like to be vulnerable. They care a lot about how people perceive them. I feel like they project. So because they're that way, they feel that other people are that way. And the way that you look is a lot different than how you act. So I feel like you're someone that takes a lot of pride in what you look like, and could be seen as vain, but in this context, I feel like it's more or less like they feel like you shouldn't look as good as you do being into the hobbies and interests that you're into. And possibly because they've met other people that are spiritual, that don't have any fashion sense, that aren't as confident, maybe aren't as attractive as they perceive that you are. Fanatical. This person is very obsessive. And there is also a very strong spiritual connection between you and this person. I feel like that's the intuitive bond. We know that ESP works through the heart and mind, and soulmates have that energetic connection. This is what psychic cords are all about. Universal panacea. This talks about the magic pill. The magic pill, there is no magic pill, but the magic pill, if we had to choose a magic pill, we would say it's unconditional love. So in spite that your person has a lot of opinions and you don't fit any of the criteria of what they usually go for, and possibly because, again, they don't think the way that you think. They don't interact with the world and approach the world the way that you do. The opposites attract. But in the fact that opposites attract, opposites also trigger a lot of times. Why? Because if someone approaches life through a very mental and strategizing way of how they navigate through life, and then the other person deals with life intuitively and free-spirited, where they wing everything, well, we can see why it would trigger, right? And so they're not going to handle things the way that they love is not going to be shown the same way either. I feel like the person that you're connected to, they again are very logical, so they're more of a doer, where you may need to be told, you may need to have your person show you through words more than actions, or just as much as actions. I feel like this person doesn't know how to communicate. So there's a lot of triggers, but the universal panacea is, again, unconditional love. So unconditional love can't be manipulated. It can't be destroyed. It can't, there's no expectations. There is no ownership. It just is. So I feel like you are connected to someone that continually triggers you, Taurus, and vice versa. But after the anger, after the trigger, after everything, there's still this unconditional love. So I'm almost feeling like you and your person cannot walk away. So whether you're in separation right now or whether you're together, I'm feeling like when it's good, it's really good. When it's bad, it's really bad. But there's this unconditional love of can't walk away, can't live with you, can't live without you type of energy. And that's because you both are, it's a divine connection. So it's a divine connection through the fact that there is universal panacea, which is, again, this unconditional love, and intuition, ESP, through the heart and mind. But again, there's triggers. There's a lot of processing going on from those triggers, making both of you look at life through a different perception, which can feel very uncomfortable. So that's how I know that there's healing. A lot of times we grow up in a family that we didn't know how to deal with a person. We didn't know how to deal with their personality. And what happens is it does kind of form a trauma. And then we connect to a person that is a soulmate, not all the times a twin flame, but a soulmate that actually has the same characteristics that trigger us. And it's because in the Bible it says what we resist persists. Meaning if you don't handle it, anything that a shadow will create a trigger, an emotional trigger. And so that's to call to action to anywhere where there's light is not visible. Light would be unconditional love. So any place where we have detached from, any place that we have rejected. So understand when you have a soulmate twin flame come into your life, it's going to be full of passion, and there is going to be a strong spiritual connection and a real sense of unconditional love. However, it's also going to be triggering. It's also going to be challenging. It's not going to be easy. So again, what happens is your person doesn't communicate. And so you try to communicate. And when you do, they get defensive. They get triggered because they have a very hard time taking criticism. I feel as if they've dated a lot of people that have not liked the way that they've handled things because they don't communicate. They would rather, again, show you through actions than actually communicate, because they have a hard time with vulnerability. They have a hard time with intimacy, which is trust on that deep, close level. And so when a person has wounds, they're going to perceive everything that you say as if you're judging them, even if you're not judging them. So they're always on the defensive. They're unable to, again, stand criticism, not able to see their own weaknesses. Like they can't take constructive criticism at all. So it would be next to impossible to ever balance out the relationship, I feel like. And this is what triggers you, because you're like, okay, I'm trying to express to you what my needs are, my emotional needs are, and you're just getting defensive. So again, that's the trigger. And so it almost brings up that energy of, again, childhood, where you were brought up to need to be able to express the way that you felt, or you were showing the way that you felt, and that was not comfortable. So it was taught to shut down. So again, you dealt with a person that would put up a wall and not want to see your needs. It was only about their needs. The person that only cares about their own needs is someone that needs a lot of healing, because they can't see past their own hurts and their own wounds to see that they're actually would be bleeding all over you, per se, because they are so busy looking at themselves, they wouldn't be looking at your needs. So I feel like, again, this person, like I said, would get defensive and then lost. So, and then what would happen is that because there is this strong connection where it feels like you guys should be together. It feels like it should be easy because of that soulmate twin flame. The person feels like home. Every time that your person detaches, you feel lost. You feel like rejected. You feel abandoned. So they feel judged. You feel abandoned. Those are the wounds. Those are the spiritual wounds. So let's look at the triggers. Like, let's look and see how those triggers are channeled out through the behaviorisms, because that's going to let us know a lot of why they think certain things that they think, why they do certain things that they do. And that helps, that will help you shape shift your situation, change the situation. Avoidance, didn't I tell you like that? The avoidance is what happens, where when the person gets defensive, They're becoming avoidant, right? So they're unavailable, emotionally unavailable. So that's the trigger. That's what they do. As soon as you try and explain, they again put up that wall. They get very defensive. And you flip out where you're like, enough. I've had enough. I've had enough of this disrespect where you don't care. And then you get nasty and you walk away. And again, on an emotional level, your person can express emotions, doesn't feel comfortable to express emotions, but they also like to trigger you so that you're emotional. So almost, so what they're feeling on the inside, they're triggering you to show on the outside, which is kind of a little bit like an energy vampire, someone that can't express how they feel. So they are manipulating to get a reaction out of you. Now, are they conscious about this behavior? No. But what it does is it triggers the hell out of you where you get a bad temper, you get emotional. You say, like, again, enough, like you'll threaten. But I don't really feel like, I feel like it's that your person knows that you still care, you still have feelings, you're still attached. So even though you're arguing and you get mad and you say that it's enough and you have a bad, like I said, a bad temper, your person, by them not showing any feeling or emotion and with them being defensive is a way that they avoid like really digging into their own feelings and their emotions. You're taking it as if it's to you. They don't want to deal with you through the heart. They want to logically try and figure it out, which is that's not the way that you deal with love. That's what your person probably is very good in business. They're good in the other areas in life, but as far as a relationship, we don't want to deal with the person that we care about through cold hard logic, which is what they're doing, which is not really, it's very empty to you. It's making you not get emotionally what you need. So now, just because they're doing that doesn't mean that they, again, don't care. I understand a lot of times people don't know how to express the way that they feel. So they play games, and that's what I was saying. Like, I feel as if your person unconsciously makes you really emotional, and that makes you give them more energy. And so they are holding back. They don't want to be able to express themselves because they don't want to have to open up their heart. It's an unconscious way that they protect themselves. Now, the hidden truths that they feel about you, let's go and see actually the hidden truths and what's going to happen. Because what we see is there's a connection, but there's almost like I feel as if you walked away, but not really walked away. Like you just get really angry and you get mad and you say it's enough, but you both know that it's really not enough because they're still loving and caring. So it's almost like you go back and forth. The relationship's on, it's off, it's on, it's off, which over time, by the way, there becomes no respect. And what also happens is it triggers abandonment so much that it also then triggers intimacy issues. So even though there's love, these behaviorisms will deteriorate the relationship over time if not balanced out, if not healed. I'm not available. So again, when we're saying not available, I feel like your person isn't emotionally available. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not dealing with other things in their life, but they seem to not be able to deal with other things and their emotions and feelings at the same time. Always, to them, they're always looking for a better time. It's always later, a better time, better. They don't know how to be in a relationship and be in life at the same time. So you know, because being in a relationship, you have to be real, you have to be yourself. You can't wear a mask. You have to be able to go with the flow. You can't have a wall up. You have to be relaxed. And this is why they can't be in a relationship and live life at the same time, especially if something's going on. You and I were too young. I feel like, again, when you guys first got together, it's some of you guys might have been, again, too young, because again, I feel like this relationship has been on and off for a long time. Because there is love there. It's just you get into the relationship and the person doesn't want to communicate and they play games, and then the way that you react is not productive to them. It's understandable, it's just not productive, because it's almost like you get so frustrated that you're like, okay, well, the person is deliberately doing it, but that's how they know that they have you, you know, they know that you care that much. So I feel like part of it is young in the aspect of dating, not did maybe again when you guys got together, you didn't date that many people prior to each other, maybe not didn't have enough experience. I also feel as if it was not even too young, but at the time that you might have been with someone else, weren't available, and they didn't want to really settle down. They didn't really want that to be committed. They might have known that you were a good catch, they liked you, but they didn't really, they weren't in the headspace. So when it was too young, I feel like it was more of a time. However, like I said, some of you guys might have been too young. So many things remind me of you. Well, that's because they again, there's unconditional love there. So when there is unconditional love and we are connected to a person through that intuition, ESP, they're kind of always on our mind, right? I mean, when you like someone like that, they're always kind of in the back of your mind. And so I feel like your person unconsciously looks for you everywhere. And then, you know, it's almost like when you buy a red car, it's not that all of a sudden everybody and their grandmother went out and bought the same car as you and that you notice all these red cars. It's that the fact that you're holding them in your heart, you're holding them in your mind, and they are you too. Remember, intuition, ESP, heart and mind connection, universal panacea. Again, unconditional love, that cord, that connection. So again, they're holding it in mind. So even though they reacted negatively, again, where they're so defensive that they don't open up, they still hold that they can't again walk away, because everything reminds them of you, because this is a divine connection. It's not a connection that either one of you chose. Remember, this is not the average, this is like opposite. So opposite, someone that you both are very attracted to each other, there's chemistry, but you don't approach life the same way. There's a lot of triggers there. So it's something almost like where your person doesn't want to be in this relationship because it's hard. This would be extremely hard. This would require them to be vulnerable. This would require them to do healing, which apparently they need, because they don't know how to have a conversation. They don't know how to communicate without taking offense to it, which means that they've been in environments and been around people that have made them be that way. And you would not, would need to stop trying to change this person to get a different outcome. It's almost like they continue to do the same thing. You want them to communicate the way you need them to communicate to you. And when they don't, you get mad. And that's why they, again, become defensive. but there's still love there. There's, again, because person can't get you off their mind. And you, I feel like, can't get them off your mind, because that's the twin flame connection. It's almost like a curse where spirit, again, makes you so passionate for each other that there's a hunger, there's a want, there's a desire, but there's also pain. And that's in order for you both to look at the wounds that you had way before you met each other, because this relationship is divine, and spirit has brought this connection together for healing purposes. So the twin flame soulmate is going to pull those wounds right out of you. It's going to make you look at what needs healing within inside of you. It doesn't necessarily mean that you guys will be together, because a lot of times soulmate twin flames can't get on the same page. They can't, they think too differently, they trigger too much. You were the best thing in my life, so I feel like, again, that you walked away because, like, you were like, I've had enough. I've had enough with your game playing. Like, you perceive them not opening up, the way that they communicate, the way that they deal with you, as playing games, where I don't think that was 100% true. I think that some of it was true. Like, yeah, they like to get an emotional rise out of you because that showed how much you care, and they are not comfortable at expressing how much they care. But their love language is not to express, it's to do. So, and I don't believe that they normally gave that much. So the fact that they gave, they feel like you are the best thing in their life. And I feel like they still think that you're the best thing in their life, because you're making them look at their life. I believe that they have never had such a deep relationship, and now they're looking at all the relationships that they have, and they see that they lack depth. And because they lack depth, your person is always desiring more. And that's because they're not really embodying who they truly are. Because like goes to like. If you act phony, if you are phony, you're going to attract people that are phony. If you're only surface, well, after a while, the people that come into your life, they're only going to be surface, because they're not going to feel comfortable to have any depth. So this is what your person's realizing, that they're not really fulfilled, that they've been taught to not express themselves, to not be vulnerable, to not show their feelings, to not be that way. And I feel as if you were either taught to try to control, try to force, try to protect. There's a sense of getting mad, like I said, having a little bit of a bad temper, because the person triggers you to the point that you get very frustrated. So it's almost like you keep trying to put that circle peg in the square hole, and it can't, relationship can't do that. It's like the person doesn't think the way that you think. So the way that you're dealing with them, if you want to be in this relationship, you'd have to do something completely different. So we could see why the relationship has been on and off, like a light switch. I'm starting to understand our connection. I believe that you both realize, because you can't walk away, that the relationship is a soul relationship, that it's a divine relationship. You both see that. I don't know. I think for growth, you both know for growth, because I don't feel like your person is spiritual. I feel like they might know some stuff about spirit, but as far as why they create certain things in their life, they're oblivious to it. And so I feel as if, in spite of that, they are starting to understand that the relationship that they have with you is something deep, something important. They might not say that it's spiritual, or, oh, you're my past life connection. They might not say that, but what they would say is, I feel like it's important. I feel like you're supposed to be in my life. I can't see you not being in my life. I feel like it's supposed to be, like they can feel the kismet. Obstacles. But again, there's always been obstacles. I feel like it was never the right time before, to be honest with you. That's what the obstacles were, because a lot of times soulmate twin flame, it is on, off, on, off. And a lot of times the obstacles are just ourselves. It's just our own triggers with each other. It's our own wounds, our own baggage that needs to be processed and looked at. That's the whole point for the relationship. If we weren't crazy about the person, we wouldn't look at that. We'd say, the hell with it. It's like, it's not worth it. So passion and desire, but we know that already with the twin flame soulmate. It's, again, we wouldn't stick around to deal with the obstacles. That's how spirit tricks us, like, because we love that person, we feel like that person's supposed to be in our life. There is unconditional love. We can't walk away from them, no matter what they tend to do, no matter how frustrated we get. But though many times we will leave and go back to the relationship, trying to change it to what works for us, and that person does not change. And that's what's frustrating, because there's an illusion that this person feels like home. They feel like unconditional love. I can feel them. I know that that's my person. However, they don't make it easy. So there's almost like it's almost like a mind fuck. That's the best way that I can explain it, because it's like you feel like they should, and then what happens is you let your guard down, because you feel such an intense connection. There's so much passion, there's so much desire, but there's so much love. And then what happens is you let your guard down, and then that person still has their wounds. There still has the things that, again, that they don't think the same way that you do, so they're not going to react the same way that you do. So it's going to trigger all your wounds, and then there's a sense of feeling, why was I vulnerable? And then there's a sense of where you get mad. So we can see the looping. I feel lost without you. And I feel like that's because you really cut it off, because you got mad. So there's a sense that that person is like, they're angry, they're hurt, because they don't really know why you did what you did. They feel as if, again, this relationship is so deep and intense that you should just make it easy. Which it tells me that they're not very evolved. And again, they have to look and see how they contributed to your reaction. And their first reaction is to be defensive. So I believe that they didn't really look at this either for a long time. So I believe that you have stood your ground to, which is why your person also feels like there's an obstacle, because they didn't come back right away to apologize. They didn't come back because, like I said, they were angry. They wanted you to move. They wanted you to reach out. They didn't want to be vulnerable. And so what your person is realizing is, if they want this relationship, they're going to have to be vulnerable. I'm working up the courage to contact you. That's what I'm telling you. So it's like unconditional love. This is what it is. It makes people surrender their ego. It makes us do things that we don't want to do. It makes us look at things that we need to heal. And so I feel as if, you're not going to react the same way that you have, because you did not get a good response. When you got mad and you said enough, and they became judgmental and again, very defensive, and you walked away. You expected them to contact you. You expected them to chase. They didn't. Because how they saw it was that you hurt them so much by what you said that they saw you as defensive for no apparent reason, though they didn't see that this is an accumulation of many times that they don't express. Many times they are avoidant emotionally. And so partially this relationship is going to teach you both how to become more balanced. You less emotional, them a little bit more emotional. That's what I see. Life feels empty without you by my side. You were my everything, and I pushed you away. They realize again, like I said, that because they weren't open and didn't give you anything emotionally, that's how they, pushed you away. And they feel stupid because they have feelings. So they also, have to come back and humble themselves and do the thing that they didn't want to do, which is show feelings in order to get you back. My emotions are like a roller coaster now. I don't know what I want, but I'm trying to find out. So I think that their emotions are just up and down. They're working up the courage to come back, but they're mad about it. They're mad that they have to come back and do it, and that's because they're working through the fear. So it's not really like they're mad. Sometimes fear can look like mad, right? Just the same way as anxiety can look like anger. This is more like, again, their emotions are up and down. Like 1 second, I love you, and then it's like, I hate you because I have to come back and do the work, and I don't want to do the work. I don't want to do this shadow healing. I don't want to have to feel my emotions. I don't want to have to be the one that apologizes because I'm strong. And I was showing you how strong I was, and I don't feel like I did anything wrong. I feel like you attacked me. So again, they're getting triggered, and because they're getting triggered, their emotions are up and down. Like, I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you. And that's mainly because they know that they have to come back and do everything that they were afraid to do, the things that they purposely avoided doing. They avoided not giving you that. They purposely didn't give you anything emotionally. And now they see, well, if I'm going to get you back, I have to do it. You bring out the best in me. I'm a better partner because of you. I want to cherish you forever. So they see that you, again, would make them a better partner. You make them a better person. And that's because of emotionally intelligence. When we are emotionally intelligent, we are a better person because it means that we're not just thinking about ourselves. Your person always is strategizing. That's somebody that is only really thinking about themselves. Because how can you strategize for both people? You're not. You're only strategizing for yourself. So they were always selfish before, and they had a closed heart because they were afraid. So let's see what the universe tells us to balance out the energy if we need, or whatever message that we can take away from this relationship for Taurus. Let's see. I don't know if there's two here or the one. I got two. So I'm going to take them both because it was stuck together. I honor how I want to feel. Appropriate. So your person would need to honor how they want to feel, and we honor that through our actions. We honor that through being able to communicate. I honor how I want to feel. Well, it's a choice. So, and for you too, Taurus, because you reacted emotionally and you didn't get a good response. So if you want to honor how you want to feel, and you want to feel like you are in a balanced state, because a lot of times when we argue with someone, we actually feel worse because of what we did to ourselves. not even the fact of how that person reacted or responded. So if we want to get a good response to how that your person is going to respond, we're going to, again, like, be conscious of how we say things, be conscious of how we react, because we know that our person is sensitive. We know that our person needs healing. So, and we already established that you can't live with them and you can't live without them. But it's more difficult to live without them. So we have to find the balance in order to live with them, because we want to live with them, because we love them. So you want to honor how you feel. And the other one that was stuck is, the moment I realign with love, clear direction is present to me. So it's, again, this relationship is all about learning unconditional love, universal panacea. That is the magic pill. That is unconditional love. But if we were brought up in an environment where we weren't really taught that, maybe we had a harsh parent, maybe we didn't even have parents, maybe we grew up as an orphan. There's a million and one reasons of why we didn't feel as if we got the love, that there was unconditional love. It's not a blame game. However, if we were brought up in an environment that wasn't supportive to us, we could feel as if we're not lovable. So we wouldn't really know what that feels like. And what this relationship is teaching is that unconditional love isn't always flowers, it's not always pink, it's not always lovey-dovey. That, yes, there is passion a lot of times, but with unconditional love, in this situation with a soulmate twin flame, there is passion. However, with a soulmate twin flame, there's anger, there's hurt, there's resentment, there's a lot of negative emotions that come up. There's a lot of in our mind trying to figure out why our person is acting the way that they are and what they're doing. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of different emotions that you will identify with this person, but you will also identify your person as unconditional love, because unconditional love can be sloppy, can be full of hurt, can be full of pain, have those paradoxical energies. And in order to really know that, we have to embody it. And so this relationship is one that is teaching that. And so what it's saying is, anytime that you feel that shadow, anytime that you feel that block, anytime you get triggered, go back to knowing again that that's your person, and that get back to centering yourself, to getting into that space of unconditional love. And that's when we're going to be more willing to look at the situation through different perceptions, maybe even through your person's perception of how they view you and how they view the situation, so that you both can communicate without feeling judged, without feeling needing to be defensive, so that you can, lay down those walls to allow intimacy, real intimacy, which is trust. Because at one time, trust was broken, which is why both of you, again, don't have your hearts open as much as you should. You a little less, but the arguing and needing to change and put the circle in the square peg is a way of not wanting to change, wanting things your way in order to feel comfortable, is, again, not what unconditional love is. Unconditional love is we love the person regardless of what it looks like and how they're triggering us. So I'm going to leave it there. And remember, if you want to win that reading, you have to do those 3 things: like the video, subscribe to the channel, and you are going to write the word intuition in your comment bar. And I hope to see you all soon Bye.